Good evening, everybody. Matt M. Roy back once again. Hope everybody is doing very, very well tonight. Um, Probably a little confused by the title and the thumbnail. Um, been having some interesting issues over the past few days. I can't go into too many details. I had a little bit of a health issue. Not me, close family member, but we're okay. Don't worry about it. Again, I can't really divulge any more information other than that. Um, but it just seems like everything is coming ahead all at once. The summer sales are very slow. Business is very slow during the summer, and I'll tell you. It's not just me. Eric, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but he and I were having a chat probably about an hour ago, and he said the same thing that sales for him have been a little slow. And it's the same thing here with me. But that's very typical. This time of year, people are on vacation. Summertime, people just don't have a lot of money because they're on said vacations. Most of the money that they have extra is going to fund those vacations or trips or, just trying to find things to do with the kids. So it's been a struggle. I'll tell you this. And then, of course, the other thing is the oppressive heat. Now, let me go and pull up, at least for our area. We have been in the low to mid 90s with about the same with the humidities in the 80 to 90% range. And it limits what we can actually do outside. Yesterday was actually the nicest day. It only got up to 89 degrees. Now, today, it was up to 93. And I took a bike ride this afternoon when I got home after church. And I rode maybe 8 miles. And by the time I got home, my entire shirt was drenched. I'm talking about head to toe. It was just total sweat. And even my shorts as well. But usually I wear polyester shorts. That way they dry quickly. Tomorrow it's going to be a little cooler. It's going to be 88. So I am definitely going to try to get a bike ride in tomorrow. Tuesday, a high of 89. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're back up into the low to mid 90s. So, you know what? It's really put the kibosh on a lot of my projects. And the number one project lately is getting the Tahoe ready for you guys to actually see and have me do a review of it. I wanted to get that done today or even yesterday, but with the heat, that health-related issue, and a few other things, I just haven't had a chance to do it. Now, the Tahoe is actually ready. I finished all the little projects on there that I needed to do. And when I do the review, I'll discuss what I had to do to make it roadworthy and fix some of the cosmetic issues that it had. Hopefully going to get to that this week. Probably going to try to do it tomorrow since that seems like it's going to be the nicest day. Let's see who's here. Brendan Roberts is here. Nice. Chris Bartlett is here. Danny K. Same here in Illinois. Looks like a lot of people are having the heat right now. If you noticed back there, I was watching Growing Pains, one of my favorite old comedies. And I was almost late, believe it or not. I was laying down in bed. I was just really getting ready to relax, and I noticed it was pushing 8. So you guys definitely deserve the live stream tonight. Robert Jones says hi. George Stewart says hi. I'm waiting for a few other people to come. I will go over with you guys a few of the things that I've done to the Tahoe before I show you the review video. The main issue with the Tahoe, getting it roadworthy and actually able to drive on the road, was the driver's side mirror. The one that was on it was actually the spring and the I said the spring and the motor mechanism had broken apart, so the mirror would actually just go like this, and it was very dangerous because, believe it or not, you can drive just fine without a passenger side mirror, but a driver's side mirror is a must. And actually, if it hadn't just passed inspection a few months earlier, that would have failed for that. So I was very, very lucky. I was able to go to our local pick and pull yard, and I was able to get another mirror off of a '97 Yukon. And luckily, it was the same color, so I actually didn't even have to paint it. I was able to just pull the old one off, put the new one on. It was actually really easy to do. There's a little inspection panel right above the door panel towards the A-pillar. You just pull off the little cover on there, you pull out the foam, and then there are 3 bolts. You undo the bolts, and the mirror comes off, and then you just do the same thing in reverse. It was actually pretty easy to do. Not all vehicles are like that, though. There are a lot of vehicles where you actually have to take the whole door panel off because the door panel can actually go up towards the A-pillar. So that's one thing I really love about the Chevy Tahoe, really the whole GMT 400 platform, is the ease of working on it. Another thing I had to do was the blower motor was making all kinds of noise. Basically, the bearings were starting to go bad. And in a lot of newer vehicles, at least, the blower motors are in the engine bay behind the firewall. And sometimes you actually have to take half the firewall parts to just get to the blower motor, but not on the Tahoe. On the Tahoe, all you really have to do is you remove the glove box, and underneath the glove box, you remove the shroud, which in my case totally disintegrated. I'll probably have to find another one of those in the future. And you remove 7 bolts, you take off the cover, and literally the motor is right there. Actually, the cover is the motor, believe it or not. Not sure if I'm going to get another shroud because the shroud does have some sound dampening to kind of help control the noise from the blower motor, but it's not that bad. And believe it or not, the replacement blower motor that I picked up at AutoZone is black on the outside, whereas the other one, the original one, was silver. And of course, everything else out of there is black. So now that I put the new one in, you really can't even tell that it's there. So I'll probably keep that off because chances are if I go back to pick and pull and try to find one of those covers or shrouds, as they call them, they too will probably be disintegrated. I can imagine that probably is going to happen when your vehicle hits 25 years old. Anything that's rubber like that and is exposed to the heat during the summer and the cold in the winter, this isn't going to hold up to all those years. Mike Perrodin, hey Matt, I made to your live stream from Montreal. Nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you in the last few live streams. Tyler wants to know how it's going. Doing all right. Had some struggles this week. That's why you guys have not seen the Tahoe video. But I'm hanging in there. Again, some issues that I can't really divulge here, but just know that everything is okay. And hopefully going to get to some of these videos I've been promising you guys, but really haven't been able to deliver. So Max O'Neill, Prime Day has got some good things for sale in the UK today. Some of their markups are so obvious. 220 pounds, $300 for a 1 terabyte SSD. Yeah, that definitely seems like a lot. I mean, it's a big SSD, but I've seen the 1 terabytes here, at least in the US, on sale for like $99, really. Yeah, I think it depends on where you live because, believe it or not, Amazon has different prices for different countries. I've had people from the UK, from New Zealand, Australia, even parts of Germany tell me that one product they were looking at was a different price than what I was seeing it for here. And they can do that. I mean, they use location services to do that. It's not uncommon these days. Eric says, I'm hoping to put up the temporary garage and start filming the S10 videos this weekend. I would like to see that. And, you know, I really wanted to film some of the repairs that I did to the Tahoe, but with the heat outside, it just wasn't possible. All the stuff that I did, literally 5 minutes into it, I was one big sweat ball, and I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have somebody film me doing repairs, you know, literally sweating through my shirt. So if I keep it, and I'm definitely going to keep it for now. I mean, it's a great vehicle. There are other things that I'm going to want to do to it towards the fall and winter, and then I'll probably be able to actually film those videos. Tyler goes, been very depressed lately, not into making videos much anymore. I'm sorry to hear that. And again, I totally get it. We live in some very dark and very confusing times. And again, I'm not trying to get religious specifically on everybody, but whatever your beliefs are, you have to turn to your higher power during these troubling times. I mean, I've really myself been praying a lot lately about certain things that have been happening in my life, things that that I didn't know what to do, because, you know, we don't have all the answers as human beings. We go through life doing the best we can, making the best decisions that we possibly can at that point in time. And we make it. You know, we're right some of the time. Most of the time, we're probably wrong. I mean, let's face it. I know I'm wrong more than I'm right. But when I find struggles are getting too much for me, I pray to Jesus. In my case, I pray to the Lord, because I say, look, Lord, you've got to help me through these circumstances. I've lost the will to go on. I've never really gotten to that point, but there have been times that things have gotten really hard and I didn't know what the answer was. So I looked again to my higher power for that. Go ahead, Eric. Yeah, that's fine. There are times I have to go, then call in nature, as we say. It looks like Stephen Barber's not liking AT&T right now. You know, they've actually raised their prices, but the good news is if you have the unlimited plan, I was paying about $66 a month for the unlimited plan that was capped at 3 gigabits per second. Now I'm paying, I think it's $75 a month. So what does that make it? Like $9 more a month? That's the new plan, but there's no data, there's no speed caps. In other words, unlimited data, and I'm going to be getting 4G LTE speeds. And I don't think everybody quite understands that yet. And again, I'm not an expert on it, but you guys can look into that if you're interested. Elizabeth Laforte, are you still planning a move to New York with your family? Well, it was never with my family here. The idea is I want to move up to close to where my uncle lives. It's the same town, but it's like on the outskirts. The plan being is to rent a house that his neighbor 2 houses down owns. The problem now is he actually hasn't gotten that house renovated yet. It was supposed to have been done really at the beginning of the summer, and he hasn't really had a chance to do anything with it yet. So that is going to have to be put on hold. Now, there are other options. If I decide that I need to get up there for business reasons, I could stay with my uncle and maybe just pay him some rent, which is honestly probably the way I'm going to go at first, because I need to make sure that the type of business that I'm in will work up there as well as it does down here. And the beauty of it is up there, it is much cheaper to live up there in upstate New York. Yes, the taxes are higher, but everything else is cheaper, including houses. I mean, heck, down here, a 2,500 square foot house is going to run you a quarter of a million, so 250 to maybe $350,000. Basically, bare minimum is $250,000. Up in that area, the same size house can be had for $60,000 to $80,000. So the living expenses as pertains to buying a house are much cheaper up there. Stephen Barr goes, I'm getting an $80 plan with everything fully loaded. That doesn't seem too bad. I know AT&T has a lot of different plans. If you're not sure you're getting the best deal, definitely go into your store and talk to one of the representatives. They, for now at least, they should be up to date on all the new plans that AT&T rolled out this past month. Yeah, I've heard that houses in Australia are very expensive. Believe it or not, things in the U.S. are actually much cheaper compared to other first world countries around the world. So I guess we're blessed that way. But our economy's been hit hard in past years, and this is something I want to touch on because I don't think everybody realizes how bad summertime is for certain types of businesses. People that are in any kind of sales, computer repair like I do, is very bad in the summer. Business is very slow because people, again, are on vacations. And even if they're not on vacations, generally the kids are out from school. The kids are involved in various activities. Maybe they're going to the Y, they're joining summer camps. And their parents don't have the disposable income anymore. And even though they may need it, they're going to put off computer repairs for as long as possible. And I am definitely noticing that over the summer. I have not had a repair job in probably 2 weeks now, and that is extremely uncommon. I would say I average maybe 8 to 10 repairs a month. It's not a lot, but again, that's not my main focus right now. But every little bit helps to pay the bills. And one thing you got to realize, you got to have your what's a good phrase? You got to have your interests spread over a broad spectrum. In other words, you have to be doing more than one thing. So if something dries up, you have some other aspect or area of your life to fall back on. So you guys know I do computer repair, I do some sales, I do YouTube, and I have a few other things that I do that I won't discuss publicly here on this forum, but you have to diversify. Now, I'm not talking about like diversifying your portfolio. That's something totally different. But you need to have a variety of income sources, if you will. That's a good term. Stephen Barber goes, I have 2 fire alarm companies, Simplex, which I work with now, and National Time. I used to work for are fighting over me. And the 2 bosses know each other. I love both companies. Well, that's good if there are people fighting over your talents. Yeah, I wish I had that problem. Jonathan Grindle, I think I'm a strange person because I use my Android Wear watch with my iPhone and my Apple Watch with my Note 8. Mix and match it. Hey, as long as it works, there's nothing wrong with that, though you might anger the purists. Robert Jones says, what do you do to supplement your income? Well, I basically just told you everything that I do that I am willing to tell publicly. Again, there are other aspects of my life that I have to keep private, and that's always going to be the case. I'm sorry if that offends some people, but that's just the way it is. But the stuff that I'm willing to tell you guys, doing my YouTube videos, I do computer repair, I do computer sales, and I'm also in the reselling game. Things like, usually things like OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. I don't really do a lot with eBay. One thing that I'm actually getting into right now, and I just made my first sale, is Poshmark, because going to the garage sales, I do find a lot of clothing items at very good prices. So I've been snagging a lot of different interesting clothing items and posting them up and seeing what actually sells. And believe it or not, the only thing that's actually sold so far is a number 34 Harvey Mets jersey. So sports jerseys are a big selling point on Poshmark. But, and here's the big but, you need to get them at a decent price, because one thing I will tell you about Poshmark, you see those commercials, and you've probably seen the ads on YouTube where it says, "Oh yeah, I made $1,000 a month selling on Poshmark. I was able to pay for our family's vacation." Not going to happen. People on Poshmark are looking for a bargain. Give you an example. I put on a few Izod shirts, one being a 4X shirt, actually very desirable shirt because a lot of people look for the bigger sizes. And I put it up there for $10. I haven't had any interest in it at all, and it's not worth me lowering my price because I won't be making enough. Now on Poshmark, you don't actually pay for shipping. The buyer does, and what they do when somebody makes you an offer, you can accept or reject. If you accept the offer, Poshmark sends you a bill of sale with a shipping label. You package it up, put that shipping label on the box, and then usually I'll just schedule a pickup with the local USPS office and leave it on the porch, and they'll come and pick it up. Now, the reason I say the lower sales are not worth it is it's not worth my time. Even on that jersey, let me think. I bought the jersey for $5. I sold it for $15. After fees and everything, I'll get $12. So I only made $7 for about a half an hour's worth of work, packaging it up, printing out the label, putting a little personalized note in there. It was an interesting experience, but you see how the lower priced items are not going to be worth your time unless you're doing this to maybe fill your days, maybe have a closet full of old clothes that you're trying to get rid of. You don't have a lot else to do. But for somebody like me, my time is definitely spent better in other ventures, let's say. Chris Bartlett, no community work there, Matt? I used to work as volunteer visiting people for about 6 years. I did that. I have done I've done volunteer work in the past. For about 2 years, I volunteered at our local PetSmart, taking care of their cats. When I lived in New York, I actually volunteered at the local recycling center. I do want to do more of that. The problem with volunteer work is time. I work on average 14 to 16 hours a day with all of my passions, all of my ventures. So it really doesn't leave me a lot of time to do volunteer work. That being said, if things change in the future, if I can increase my income level, then yeah, that's definitely a possibility. And that'd be a great idea for some videos too. Erickson used to volunteer at a local Habitat Restore. Man, I wish we still had one of those locally. The closest one I think is over in Newport News. Very interesting Habitat Restores. I mean, you can find almost anything there. I'm not just talking about it. It has your typical thrift store fodder, your bric-a-brac, your electronics, computers, monitors, clothing. But towards the back, they actually have like builder supplies. I remember when ours was open, they had things like paint, wall spackle. They actually had painting rollers. And then they had things like appliances, stoves, refrigerators, washers, dryers, at very good prices. And it was really a nice thing for the community because, there are a lot of people out there that just can't afford to buy new. Give you an example. Somebody's washer bites the dust, or there's another term, but dies. And they might not be able to afford 5, 6, $700, whatever it costs now to get a new washing machine. You could go over to the Habitat Restore and get a nice used one there for 100, maybe $150. So I really enjoyed it. I feel kind of upset that they closed. I kind of understand it though in a way, because we have a lot of stores like that here, not just thrift stores. We have a lot of refurbished secondhand appliance stores. So I just think they couldn't compete. Jonathan Grinnell says, you might like the Fogg Project for your operating system installs. I've never heard of the Fogg Project. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, Chris, I remember you were telling me about you couldn't walk a lot anymore. Um, there are still things you can do, though. I mean, and maybe you're limited in the volunteer realm, but at least in our area, Walmart. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys must have something similar to Walmart, if not Walmart's where you live. But the greeter program, I mean, they will hire people as greeters, and you can sit in the chairs. If you're in a wheelchair, you can be in your wheelchair. There are a lot of options out there. Well, yeah, 16 watchers. That's awesome for a Sunday evening. Thank you guys so much for coming. I always appreciate it. I might sound a little stuffed up because I am. My allergies are really, really biting my butt right now. I don't know what it is. Well, it could be the heat. The heat and the humidity grow a lot of pollen grows out of that, mold, mildew. I'm really allergic to mold and mildew, so that's probably what it is. Eric goes, I would be an awful greeter. I probably would too. I'm so much on the move now that I like something physical. So if I was to get a part-time job, it would have to be doing something physical. A day laborer, maybe like an apprentice, like maybe a plumber's apprentice or a construction worker, something like that. But I just couldn't do clerical work or office work anymore. It would not keep me stimulated. You guys know, with my lifestyle change, I have to be on the go all the time. As a matter of fact, I'll let you guys know, this is probably one of my worst days when it comes to walking. I've gotten 11,069 steps in, according to my Fitbit here. And usually by now, what is it, 8:30 at night, I would have about 15,000 steps. But I did take a bike ride. I took about an 8-mile bike ride today, so it wasn't too bad. Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, I'll check that out later. Eric goes, you want to come to Newcastle and do planograms? Yeah, anything's possible. Like I said, right now the problem is I just don't have enough hours in the day to get done what I need to get done now. Yeah, Chris, you're probably right. I am probably a little too old to be an apprentice. I mean, it's usually for somebody in their teens and 20s. I honestly, with all the skills that I have, I could probably take on somebody to help me as an apprentice. Yep, I got it. I got it, Stephen. I'll check that out later, I promise. We got 15 watchers and 12 likes. Oh, man. I'm telling you, now that I've lost the weight, I can handle the heat much better. This is something that a lot of people didn't realize about me, but before I got under like the 280-pound mark, when I was like 320, 340, on hot days like this, I couldn't do anything but sit inside and watch TV, because the second I went outside, not only would I be sweating up a storm, but I'd be out of breath. And that's why I never want to get back anywhere near as heavy as I was. Now, I realize realistically there might be a time in my life that I may get a little bit heavier than I am now. You got to remember, right now I'm around the 210-pound mark, which is actually very thin for somebody like me. I'm 6'2", and again, I'm a very large framed person by nature. My ideal weight, honestly, like everything said and done, perfect weight for me would be about 202 to 204 pounds. So I'm really only about 5 or 6 pounds away from that. And honestly, I really want to try to get down to 200 pounds, because I think that's going to give me a leeway in case I do gain some more weight. But I'm noticing lately that my appetite is coming back. Like tonight, I am in the mood to munch, and I just got to fight it, because that is the worst thing you can do, is to eat at night, like right before you go to bed. Mainly because your body isn't able to metabolize your food very well when you're sleeping. And I'm trying to tell everybody that, everybody I know, and there are a lot of my friends that are overweight, they're trying to lose weight. And the first thing I ask them is, are you eating right before bed? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, that's why you can't lose weight, because your body just is storing that food. If you eat a big meal, or even a fatty snack or sugary snack, like say you had some Twinkies right before bed, it's about 350, 400 calories, and you go to sleep. You do burn off some calories when you're sleeping, but especially those things that are high in carbohydrates, that stuff stays with you. That keeps your blood sugar elevated. When your blood sugar is elevated, your body is not as efficient at burning fat and helping you lose weight. Honestly, the best thing you could do, if you absolutely have to have something to eat before bed, make it something low in carbs, protein. A great option is get some cold cuts, like cold cut turkey or ham, and get some cheese and do what we call roll-ups. You take like a piece of cold cut turkey and a piece of, stay away from American cheese, it's terrible, but something like a piece of Swiss cheese or cheddar cheese, roll it up and eat that right before bed, because your body is going to be able to process that while you sleep. So just give that a try. Anybody out there that's trying to lose weight at this point, give that a try. Trust me, you'll notice a difference. Chris says, I'm putting weight on because it's cold here. Yes, your body, believe it or not, will naturally put weight on for most people when it's cold outside. And that's a survival mechanism. That goes back years and years and hundreds of years, thousands of years, when we used to live outside, or I'm not going to say specifically caves, when we used to live in houses that didn't have central air and central heat. Our bodies would naturally store as much energy as they could, because that would be what would keep us alive during those months. Now, I will tell you this. Your body's going to crave more fat and more protein during the winter months, and that's actually a good thing, because when it's cold, even if you're inside, your body is going to be burning a lot more calories, just because, again, it realizes that it's cold outside. When you step outside, your body's like, oh no, it's cold, I need to make sure we keep this body warm. And then that's when it starts burning the fat and then the calories. So even if you go in, say you're outside for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you go back inside, it still helps you, believe it or not, because it takes a while for your body to realize that you're back inside, you're back up to room temperature, and then your body says, okay, we're good now, let's go ahead and slow the metabolism down. So That's why during the wintertime you will gain some weight. But again, if you're careful and you try to eat more protein and you fight the urge to eat all those bad carbohydrates, you still can lose weight even during the winter times. You just have to trick your body into thinking that you're eating more than you actually are. Chris says, I wear a jumper to bed and it's cold here, and also 2 quilts. Woof. I don't even do that in winter. I'll be honest with you guys. A lot of times, even in the wintertime, I don't even wear a shirt to bed. I do have a pretty thick winter blanket. This is my summer one. If I turn you guys here, you see how thin it is? See, I'm holding that up and it's really, really thin. Well, the one that I use in winter is about twice that thick, but I don't use a top sheet. I only sleep with a quilt or a blanket like that. Mark Covington's here, asks, how am I doing? I'm doing all right this evening. The Willies, that's funny. Where are Louise and Lionel? Anybody here old enough to remember the Jeffersons or All in the Family? Two great shows. Eric goes, I can't sleep without a top sheet. Interesting. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to have a bottom sheet, top sheet, quilt, and sometimes an electric blanket if mom would let me. She was always really leery about that because back in the 80s and 90s when I was young, really young, they had issues with those, saying it wasn't good for people to sleep with them, especially kids. But nowadays, I really don't need that much. And honestly, I can sleep almost anywhere now. When I was young, I had to sleep in my bed. If I was on vacation, I hardly slept at all. I was lucky to get maybe 2 or 3 hours at night. Now, I could sleep anywhere. Now that I'm in my 30s, I could sleep on a couch. I could sleep on the floor. I could always sleep in a car. You could ask my mom when I was young. Even now, if I'm riding in a car, just the movement of the car puts me to sleep usually. I mean, I'll just take a nap and I'll be down for the count for maybe 2 or 3 hours. Eric goes, back when I was a kid, I would put a blanket under the bottom sheet. Then I had to have a top sheet and a light blanket with the fan. So you got blanket, bottom sheet, top sheet, and then another light blanket. Man, you were really layered there. Whew. If I had stuff like that, even as a kid, my whole bed would be drenched in sweat. I used to sweat profusely when I was a kid, especially in bed. And even nowadays, I have 2 fans on me, the overhead fan, and I have a fan pointed directly at my face at night to keep me cool. That's about the only time that I'm really hot, honestly. And I don't know what it is. It's just something, the way my body reacts. It's kind of weird. Bed he had was horrible. You want to hear a story about a horrible bed? We moved from New York in 1997. Now, I remember I had the same bed, a twin bed that we got from a local mattress store in 1986. So that bed was 11 years old, give or take, when we moved. And for 2 years before that, I will never forget, about once a month, my dad would have to take a pair of cutters. I think they call them dikes now. No pun intended there. Because the springs would have popped up through the bed, and he would have to snip them and put duct tape on top of it because we were really, really not doing well financially at that point. They couldn't afford to get me another mattress. And this was even after flipping the mattress a few times. By the time we moved, I finally just had to throw it out. We didn't even think about bringing that bed with us. I should have taken a picture of it. There was more duct tape than actual mattress left. And it was just something that I remember. I dreaded getting in that bed the last year or so that we had it because it was so uncomfortable. And I remember times in the middle of the night where I would be 2, 3 in the morning, I would hear bong, and of course I would have a spring popped in my back. Now, part of it was my fault because honestly, I was heavy at that point. I started gaining weight maybe in 91, 92, and so probably for the last 4 or 5 years of that mattress's life, I was a real heavy kid. And this was a small twin mattress designed for a kid, but yeah, it was not fun. It just really wasn't that fun. Though I'll digress because I really liked my childhood. Don't get me wrong. I loved my childhood. Super Cake subscribed. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I really enjoy hearing about new subscribers, and I really want to keep doing these live streams because I am really bad when it comes to answering comments in regular videos. Yes, I know I am. A lot of it is just time related, but at least if you come to these, I will try my very best to read your comment aloud if it's appropriate. Eric goes, and I still sweat like a pig if the AC isn't at 68 and lower with a fan on. Some of us are just designed that way. My dad tends to be very hot too. Hot-blooded, I should say. Eric Brunhammer goes, the bed we have now is really not cheap, but it already feels like it is falling apart. I'm going to tell you the best place to buy a mattress. This is from somebody who, even at my stage in life, I'm 36, has had five or six mattresses, and none of them held up. This last mattress that I have right now, it's a full, and I got this bed from the original mattress factory. Now they're not paying me to say this, but they're all over the United States. We actually have a factory here in Virginia Beach. And my bed, I actually went to the showroom, chose the one I liked. I got the mid-range one. I can't remember what they called it. There was a low range, a mid-range, and a high range. I went with the mid-range one. Put my order in, and believe it or not, they actually make the mattresses and box springs here locally. And I must say, I've had this mattress now for almost a year. I haven't even had to turn it over yet. Normally, with mattresses I've gotten in the past, within a year, you start seeing that dreaded sag in the middle. This one has not done that. So if you're looking for a good mattress, go to the original mattress factory. Chances are you have one at least semi-close to where you live, if you're in the continental United States. Super Cakes wants to know what we talk about. Mine is variety channel, so it could be about anything. Fitness, computers, video games, my regular videos, a lot of thrift store and garage sale finds, which I didn't do this weekend. I apologize for that, but see if we can do something about that maybe tomorrow. Mainly Matt does the talking. Yes, I definitely have some diarrhea of the mouth, as a lot of my friends have put it. Classic Mobile Home is here, back in the house. Rick Lake said, I literally overheat when I lay on my back in AC and no sheets. Like it's weird. A lot of people have different metabolisms, and a lot of it, believe it or not, has to do with your metabolism. If you have a high metabolism, in other words, you burn calories quickly, that tends to make you more hot because your body's like a furnace. It's burning all those fat and calories. So believe it or not, if you are a person that sweats a lot, it can be a good thing. It can mean that your body's functioning correctly. Mark Covington did a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Mark. And he says, I'm now watching you on my brand new smartphone. That's great. I always love getting a new smartphone. I'm still rocking the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, which I'll probably have for a while longer because this was not a cheap phone when I bought it. But next time I get a new smartphone, I'm sure it's going to be as exciting as it was when I picked this up last year. Do you know LGR? He does a lot of thrift shop visits near you, Matt. I don't know him personally, but I do watch his videos. Matter of fact, I watched his latest one where he went to Dallas, Texas. I think it's more near Garland, Texas, he said, to the Computer Reset. And Eric, if you're still here, I know you know about Computer Reset, a place that I would absolutely love to go to if it wasn't so far away. And unfortunately, now I think they're closing up shop, from what I understand. Computer Reset is basically a place where it was a computer like repair shop back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And now I guess the owner is in real ill health, and they're trying to liquidate everything that's in there, probably to help with maybe medical bills or something. And they have everything in there. I just watched LGR's video. They have everything from compact desk pros, like early 2000s desk pros, all the way back to IBM PC Juniors, brand new in the box. I kid you not. It's amazing. Eric Brunhammer, me too, and then a whole bunch of exclamation points. Unbelievable. Eric, I got to look how far this is, but if you wanted to come down here, I would go. I would make the trip there. If I knew the place was going to be open and I could peruse some of the things there, maybe take some of the more interesting stuff, buy some of that stuff, I would totally go. My dream would be to go down to that place before they close. I don't know if it's going to happen. I really need to call and find out if they're going to stay open for any more length of time right now. I can't talk. I'm sorry. It's a 2-day drive from your place. Yeah, I have heard that you have to make special appointments. We'll have to see what happens. Eric, if you come down here, that would be a great test drive trip for the Tahoe. And I think we can make it happen. I'm going to talk to Eric off camera here later. Maybe we can make something happen. Yeah, I really want to go. If again, we'd have to call because again, it is by appointment only. But yeah, I would love to go. Well, I'm gonna digress on that point because I don't know what's gonna happen there. But it's good to have dreams. A lot of times we get complacent in life and we think things are not possible, but you know what? They always are. You never know what's around the corner. I don't want to spit out a lot of platitudes, but there's a lot of truth to that. And honestly, lately I have been a little bit more depressed than I usually am. Believe me, I've been through bouts of depression in the past. It's nothing like I've dealt with years ago, but if things haven't been going your way, sometimes you just feel like that. I mean, we all get that way at times. Yes, if we go down there, I am definitely going to be making a video about it for sure. Mark asks, can you show me how to do YouTube vlogs and live streams on a smartphone? The easiest thing to start with are doing the live streams. And all you have to do, especially if it's an Android phone, it's real easy. You make sure you have the latest version of the YouTube app. Now, when you open the app up, you'll see something. Let me do this for you real quick. You get the YouTube app on there. So you open the YouTube app up. and you'll see the thing that looks like a video camera. If you tap on that, it'll give you a few options. You see on the bottom there, it says video live. Let me see if I can get it to focus there. Video live. The one in the middle is live. You just click that middle button, live, and then you just follow the instructions on the screen, and you can do your very own live stream. It's actually really easy to do. There are tutorials on YouTube, which I would highly recommend searching YouTube for tutorials. But you can do it. It's no sweat. It really isn't. Super Cakes is watching LGR and me at the same time. That's awesome. I love to be able to multitask. I am not a good multitasker. Never have been. Probably never will be. But you know what? We all have our limitations. It's good to know your limitations. Believe me. No problem, Mark. I appreciate it. Jonathan Grindle, for the best live stream software for PC and Mac, use OBS tools. You can do that. It's a little bit more complex, and I used to use that before YouTube had its own encoding software. And honestly, I find that the built-in YouTube encoding software does perfectly fine. When I used to have OBS Studios, I had issues with the audio syncing properly. If you go back and look at those live streams from a couple of years ago, I started off sounding like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks. And I just got a bad taste in my mouth with it. And for me, if it's easy and it works, that's what I'm going to do. But I don't always take the easy way out. All right, tubers, I am going to have to end the live stream here right now. I hope you guys really enjoyed it tonight. Hopefully, Eric and I can make that trip down there. I'm not sure, but we'll give it a try. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.